is Christian Frates. I'm an aspiring autistic voice actor and filmmaker, and I've been interviewed by KeithAndrewNetwork.
My name is Zachary Thaler, and I'm being interviewed by KeithAndrewNetwork. I'm an aspiring actor, and I'm loving the work he's doing.
For people who want to know what is the Keith Andrew Network, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even if having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities that never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove to them it can stem out to something. So hashtag break the labels. So that being said, it's going to be 26 minutes of your time. You can say anything you want, talk about anything you want. PG-13. And Zach, I'm going to start off with you. What can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
29, upcoming actor. It's funny that you touched on that. Anything is possible, as what you're saying that your Instagram is following in your podcast as well. Sometimes there may be people that take breaks, but it's as long as you keep that passion and driving your soul. It's, pretty much with this pandemic that we're coming back from, it's, especially actors trying to get back into the world and, back into the whole networking thing, even beyond have people having these script readings and online, Zoom meetings as well. Just a little backstory about me. Been acting pretty much ever since middle school. The first play I was in, I played a bodybuilder. It's a Dracula in Paradise. It's a Transylvanian bodybuilder. It's a little comedy farce, but ever since then, it pretty much got the itch going. So I've been at it off and on for well over a decade now, and just now getting to meet the people that are really helping to pay off, the real good people that I'm getting involved with on projects now. I currently work in private security. Need something to pay the bills. Actually, a funny enough story. I'm actually getting over a little bit of an injury myself, so trying to overcome these issues as well. That maybe a different varying degree of disability, but still, I'm understanding how the trials and tribulations of this funny little thing called life that we got going on.
True. And like you express it, no one ever gets out of life.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, yeah.
No, it's true. You have to do what you have to do. Sometimes you have to eat shit. But at the end of the day, if you can look in the mirror and you can smile at yourself, at least you're a good human being.
Exactly. I just told a good friend of mine, hey, as long as there's people that that you think looking down on you that have passed on the next road, as long as you know that you're not striving or stopping to strive to be the best version of you that you can be, that's pretty much all anybody can ask for. And then if you even get there, that's even better. So
it's true. Like my friend said, it's not the destination that matters, it's the journey.
Absolutely. 100% agreement with you.
And now our other guest we have on the show, he has a disability, but he's also an upcoming actor like yourself. Chris, what can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Christian Frates. I'm an aspiring autistic voice actor, and I've voiced in a cartoon called The Grover Guys and a video game called Killer Jin. And I do all these impressions. And I also like trying to make short films on my YouTube channel.
No, that's really cool. Now, the next question I'm going to ask both of you. So I'm going to ask a question, but it is for both of you. But Zach, I'm going to start off with you. What is the biggest change you have made in your acting career?
I would say that the biggest change I have done is starting to do more voiceover projects so that people will know my talent.
Mm-hmm. I'd say for me would be, getting out of that comfort zone. I'm what I like to describe as like an extroverted introvert. So I know a lot of people hate that phrase, but I'm really, outgoing with people that I feel like give off the same kind of vibe and stuff. So it took me a while to actually get out of my shoes, get out of the house, and actually start meeting other people and understanding other practices. Like Christian himself said, voice acting. I'd love to get into that at some point. And this is what I love about this kind of stuff, is we can network and actually, follow each other and see each other's work now. So I think that would probably be the biggest change, was growing up like out in the countryside and just seeing it like on TV and be like, oh, that's cool. And then actually getting to experience it in the real world and meeting the people that you meet in this business has probably been by far the biggest change at this point.
Well, absolutely. Chris, and now the same question for you. What is the biggest change you want to, well, let me rephrase that. What is the biggest change you made in your acting career?
The biggest change I made in my acting career is leaping from, I did turn set down a role for the Little Shop of Horrors play because I wasn't used to R-rated content at the time, but I did audition for the role of Dracula for the Dracula play with my Christopher Lee impression at high school, but I didn't get the role. So I decided to be more active since then.
Oh, very cool. Now, next question I want to ask you, Zach, is what do you consider to be the highlight of your career?
Highlight of my career? Well, I have a joke with the last production company that I was involved with. So during the pandemic, a couple of years prior to that, I was in Wonder Woman 1984. But the funny thing that everybody likes to give me a little bit of grief about is that I'm kind of like in the background. So at the time I was working in landscaping, I had a very long beard, very long hair, and I got a call from the casting director asking me if I wanted to play the homeless guy in one of their background scenes. So if you go back and you watch the movie and you see Gal Gadot walking towards the camera, you'll see a little hobo running behind her with a yellow beanie on, carrying a bunch of fruits and veggies, and that's me. So far right now, that's the highlight, which really doesn't make it sound like I'm giving myself a whole lot of credit, but right now it's the funniest thing I got going on.
Hey, whatever opportunities you come your way, you have to take it. It may not be the best, but an opportunity is an opportunity, especially to be in a hit movie like Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was an experience for sure.
What about you, Chris?
Well, I would say that the biggest highlight of my career was voicing in the Grover Guys cartoon, because it was created by a Canadian animator named DJ Barry, who's a big fan of obscure cartoons I like Evil Con Carne. And he got me to voice Beanie, Hades, and a female bartender with that raspy kind of voice. And I was lucky to be involved in another autistic artist's work.
No, that's all very interesting. I don't know what any of that is, but, it does sound very interesting.
Thanks.
Now, the other question I want to ask both of you, and each of you can just go back and forth. So the next question I want to ask you, is Zach, what is some of the best advice you have ever gotten in your life?
Well, the advice I've gotten is to do a lot of voiceover research and find out which ones are the best, like Billy West, for instance. Did you know that he's autistic?
I have no idea who he is.
Well, he voiced Fry in Futurama, Bugs Bunny in Space Jam, the Red M&M, Ren and Stimpy.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I like Futurama.
Yeah, he revealed his diagnosis 2 years ago.
That's outstanding. Wow. Never would have called it.
And you know who else is autistic? Maxwell Adams, the creator of Grim and Evil.
That show I can either take it or leave it.
Well, which one? Grim Adventures or Evil Con Carne?
Both.
Well, I'm more of an Evil Con Carne fan because it's lesser known.
What about you, Zach?
Best advice I ever received would definitely be meet people. That's one of the, 101 thing is that it's you have to meet people in order to make try to set up your future. Another bit of advice that I've gotten and that utilized too, especially in the past year or so, was it's okay to take a break for yourself. You can burn the candle at both ends pretty quickly, given the sight that you set for yourself down the line, and map it out. Really, really bang it out for, however long you need to. And if you feel yourself getting tired, there's nothing wrong with just taking a step back and recuperating. And just
right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, just saying, yeah, pretty much just, it's always good to work for a little bit and then take a step back and reevaluate, see where you're at versus where you want to go.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And I didn't mean to interrupt. I do apologize. But I agree with you. For me, let's go back to what you're saying. Once you start feeling like this is a work and it's not fun, and you start have dreads about it, it's not fun anymore. So you have to step back and reevaluate. This is what I want to. For me, this is what I want to do until I'm 6 feet under. I've been doing this for 8.5 years. I want to do this to the day I die. Now, the problem is, once you start having regret, once you start having doubts and saying, you know what, I've been doing this for a long time. It was fun. I met some great people. I met some assholes along the way. But it's like who on the Addams Family. One of my favorite expressions, when they walk into the police station, the cop says to Gomez, "Who are you? Who moved rock?" Of course, you got to make some nice people. You're gonna come across some people. You're kind of like, well, you're the same nice at the time, but whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is, once it starts feeling like, okay, I'm now self-doubting myself, it isn't going where I want to, then you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure, and then you start sabotaging yourself because you create something instead of voicing in your back of your head saying it's not working, and then you do the next step, and it's like a house of cards. All you have to do is sneeze the wrong way, and it completely ruins everything that you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that, Zach?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, like I said, there's I think at one point where, when I was younger, and this is where burning the candle at both ends comes into play, I think I was involved in about like 10 or 11 different productions going on, as well as doing like independent films, stage directing, stage managing, assistant directing, like production crew, and like stunt choreography, with a whole bunch of other stuff going on. And I was getting maybe like 3 hours of sleep a night, and on top of trying to work a full-time job, because once again, the bills don't stop. But yeah, so yeah, what you're saying is, there's no shame in taking a step back and being like, I bit off a little bit more than I can chew. So I think it's time that I just take a breath, take some notes, and like learn from what I've done. And if it works or it doesn't. If it does, perfect. Keep on at it. If it doesn't, pull out just a little bit and take a good look, and then come at it from a different angle if you need to.
Absolutely. Now, this next question, well, let me ask you this first. Are both of you fans of the Big Bang Theory?
Oh.
Yes.
What about you, Chris?
Well, Christian, I like some of it, and I can relate well to Sheldon.
Oh, first off, no disrespect, Kirsten. And yes, absolutely, I like Sheldon. Now, this is come season, I had to get into arguments with people left. So let me ask you how both of you feel. But Kirsten, I'm going to start off with you, because we both have disabilities. And the reason I'm going to start off with you is, one day I was on break in my store. I won't say where I used to work, but we had a TV in the break room, and we had internet TV, and we were able to see whatever we want to watch. And I put the Big Bang Theory. This person who I worked with, who has a disability, got up and says, how can you laugh at Sheldon when he's making fun of people with disabilities? So we got in the argument saying that first off, if he was making fun of people with disabilities, NBC or whatever network, GBS would have gotten letters about it and they would have taken off the air or toned it down. But with somebody with a disability, I want to know how you feel about the character Sheldon. And you also mentioned you can relate to him. But I want to know straight off, how do you feel about it?
I am personally not offended by a character like Sheldon. I'd say he's like the autistic equivalent of Speedy Gonzalez.
No, absolutely. I have a disability too. And, the point is, you can't take everything too damn personally. You look at Looney Tunes, you mentioned Speedy Gonzalez. What about Slowpoke Gonzalez? Of course, how I see things, and I try to turn everything into a joke because you can't take everything too seriously. There's Slowpoke Gonzalez, Speedy Gonzalez. I like the rooster, and sir, and I mean, sir, what my title?
Oh, I said dog. Your attention to detail is a little to be desired.
And there's a line in Darth Vader, and there's a meme. Darth Vader says, if I find that, I send it to you guys. There's a meme with Darth Vader at Thanksgiving saying, I find your lack of gravy disturbing. But you just have to laugh at stupid things. Yes, it's a sensitive subject, but my dad used to say, if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. But so you have to have fun. Yes, this character is bringing light to Sister Ligson, but you don't have to take it personally. And Chris, I'm going to ask you this. How do you feel about it? I know you said you don't take offense to it, but for people out there who take Sheldon personally, what would you want to say?
Well, I just say to them to just let it go.
Absolutely. What about you, Zach?
Well, I mean, I've had many of these conversations, not just about like the autistic perspective, but like that whole genre of like getting somebody that doesn't have that kind of disability and portraying that in a film or on a TV series. I've had many, what I call debates, other people would call like arguments, and say that I'm biased because like I don't have, disability. But it's if we didn't have comedy, everything would be way too serious, and we wouldn't have the kind of joy that we can find in making TV shows like that. And honestly, I'm on that spectrum of where it's not just somebody who acts like that. There takes actual research into those kinds of disabilities, and if anything, it's a commitment to actually recognizing that disability and honoring it. Series or a film. I mean, you've seen some of these amazing, like Rain Man, for example. The first time that came out with Dustin Hoffman, like there was, it was either wow, that was very, very, in depth, or somebody was just like, I can't believe that they would put that in a movie, simply because he wasn't actually. But I mean, anybody who knows Dustin Hoffman knows he really goes into his character depth. So, I mean, I'm not offended by it. I toe the line many different little aspects of things that I've talked to friends about. But I think it's, I don't want to say it's like a challenge. It is in itself, but I respect the fact that can actually be brought into light without making it seem like we're actually making fun. You're just kind of shedding light on an actual issue that a lot of people don't see day to day. Hey,
if people are too easily offended, and I wouldn't recommend watching Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, right.
Even Tom Cruise stole the whole movie with that.
And that's the thing with that kind of stuff too. It depends on the kind of Robert Downey Jr. Cancer culture hasn't come for him yet. I'm pretty sure he's on the radar, but they haven't completely honed in on him. But yeah, perfect example.
Well, absolutely. Now, the next question I want to ask both of you, then I'm going to pass the show over to both of you, is when I rapped, let me rephrase that, so I don't rap or anything, but, one number of things, had a brain fart. The thing I want to ask both of you is when I first approached each of you to be on the show, what was your first honest opinion? What made you say yes? And after being a guest on the show, how do you feel now, and would you recommend it to other people? And Zach, I'm going to start over with you.
I'm sorry, what was the question? What did I think of?
Well, when you first got that message, did you think it was a scam? What made you say yes? How do you feel now?
No, I didn't think it was a scam. You can kind of tell the difference between people who scam and who are legitimate with like nerves and stuff. Like, I can't tell you how many times like somebody's asked me, how's my diet plan working out, my nutrition and whatnot. Like, give me $2.99 and I can send you over a real brief copy. No, you were pretty straightforward to the point, to the fact where it was, your grammar was great too. So there was a plus. So I knew you were legitimate. And then always the fact that I can go in and see your account and see what you're about and know that you're for real and, doing a respectable thing with your podcast. And how I feel now is I'm feeling pretty laid back. It's nice, straightforward questions that are, generic in nature, but still can have a little bit of specificity in various answers.
No, absolutely. And that's why I don't give people scripts. People are like, oh, can I have a list of questions? If I give you the list and then I ask you a question, it will sound kind of verbose and kind of repetitive because you already know. When I say, well, where do you think of Sheldon? Kristen didn't even know what the hell I would mean by that. I just threw it out there. And that's what I'm looking for, is that reaction of, yes, from Batman, expect the unexpected, but you want it to be real. You want it to be authentic. You're not going to say, oh, well, he said something about Sheldon on number 12, so I already know what to say. So I want it to be real. So, Kirsten, how would you feel when I first approached you? What was your first opinion? What made you say yes? And how do you feel now?
Well, you're a great podcaster, and that's why I decided to do it. And I feel so comfortable being involved in interviews.
All right. So the next question I want to ask you is, how can our fans and listeners want to follow you in social media? Kristen, how can people follow you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
Just look up my name, Christian, Frates, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I do a lot of good media there.
What about you, Zach?
I just have a Facebook, Zachary Thaler. It's a public profile. I meet both, personal and professional people. My Instagram handle was when I was doing fitness and stuff. So it's Lightning Viking, Viking spelled Viking. And you'll see a nice little professional headshot of me on that one.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm not like, I was looking at your arm, like, wow, you're really jacked. Have you ever thought about being a professional wrestler?
Yeah. Am I a professional wrestler?
Oh, have you thought about it?
No, actually. I've had some friends who approached me to like help them train for it. Which, that's a whole different environment. Maybe if I was 10 years ago and I knew more about my body than I know now and how to avoid certain injuries and stuff, I might, might be a fun avenue to go through. But no, it's just, for me, fitness is my therapy. So I started working out at like 17 years old and just couldn't stop.
Like the joke in Dragon Ball, one of my favorite cartoons ever, Dragon Ball. I think if it's Chi-Chi or Bulma that said to Goku, if you ever stop working out, you're going to be horribly obese.
Yes. Yeah, well, different strokes for different folks. It's I know some people do different things to help ease the tension and like settle their mind and stuff. For me, lifting weights was the best way to do that, because you have your nice little healthy release of endorphins and dopamine and all the stuff that makes your brain go happy juice. So.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you guys off the air, but I want to ask a quick bonus question wrapping up. Zach, what is next for you?
So I'm actually involved with Slasher 15 Productions. Again, I just finished Bloody Summer Camp, which was a little slasher film that we actually just premiered last month and the month before, and we still have a couple of showings going on for that. But I'm involved now in Slasher 15's new production called Go Away, which is kind of like an old school versus new school thriller. So we actually will start shooting, I believe, in a few months, actually. I believe September is when we'll start doing that.
That's really cool. Look forward to it. And Christian, what about you? Any new projects?
Well, I'm going to make more videos on YouTube and eventually try to find more voiceover jobs.
Well, I wish you the very best in both of those. But stay tuned, I have a couple questions for you guys off the air. But wrapping up, our viewers can subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Make sure to use the hashtag Keith Andrew Network. Brand new episodes will be available. I don't have a set schedule, but hit that bell icon, notification, you will be notified when brand new content is available by the Keith Andrew Network. And if you're into professional wrestling, Dragon Ball, anime, circus acts, public singers, if you're into anything entertainment, the Keith Andrew Network is the place to be. But with that being said, wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you guys as a guest. I just want to say thank you for your time.